Welcome back to the Richard Sherman podcast. And what a win for the San Francisco 49ers. Niners faithful, you got to feel great. I know everything is going bad that could go bad. And for Brock Purdy in this game, it went horrific. 3 first half interceptions that all had left me scratching my head. The third one I thought was the best play of all of them because it was such a crafty play by Jaycee Horn, who's one of the top corners in the National Football League, but he delivered his work to the safety, and then he went and looked for work. That's a play, if you're a corner and you play the game long enough, you dream of just floating into that dig route and picking it off. And he was able to drift into that dig, get there as Brock Purdy was driving the football. Oh, my God, he'll never it's like, oh my God, that's like such a once in a lifetime scenario. He's gonna feel good about that for a long time. Unfortunately, he went out the game with a concussion, but I know in the second half when Kyle Shanahan did the interview right before halftime, he said, "Hey, he made the right decisions. He was just a little off," and that was the issue. And I saw Kurt Warner tweet something about it because he sees a lot of similarities between himself and Brock Purdy, in that they don't put a ton of velocity on their footballs, but they're really pinpoint accurate. Like, receivers love them. They're catchable football. They're receiver-friendly footballs. And I don't think fans understand that why some quarterbacks have so many drops. It's because they're throwing the ball so hard. They're throwing it as hard as they can. Cam Ward's throwing it as hard as he can. J.J. McCarthy, you look at the combine, they're throwing it really hard. And it's hard to catch those footballs. But Brock Purdy throws a very catchable ball. Unfortunately, it's catchable for a DB too. And that's what happened to him today. He was just a little bit off on the dig route. Jaycee Horn undercut it where he intended to get the ball to Juwan Jennings, and then the post route to Ricky Pearsall that was undercut by Michael Jackson, and then Jaycee Horn with a spectacular play. I'm not gonna lie. At that point, I can understand faithful's frustration, everybody's frustration, and all the naysayers that Brock Purdy has were jumping for joy and celebrating, saying, "I told you so." It's not going to move us off the spot. Brock Purdy is still a really good quarterback in the National Football League, but this was a bad performance in the first half, and it was just a little bit off, but you can't be a little bit off in this league or you're going to get punished. Thankfully, he was able to recover, in the defense, thanks to a Ji'Ayir interception in the end zone, stood up time after time after time. Saleh looked like he had such relief on his face when Ji'Ayir got those 2 interceptions, because this team has been starving for them. They've been starving for interceptions, and they're last in the league in sacks. And Cleveland Farrell scraped one sack. I thought Huff could have got another one, but I thought the defense played a fantastic football game. No question about it. With all the injuries they have, to be missing Fred Warner, to be missing Nicholas John Bosa, to be missing Mikael Williams, and to play the way they did, they deserve a lot of credit. Saleh deserved a lot of credit. This entire coaching staff deserves Coach of the Year. They all deserve Coach of the Year, because if this was anybody else, if this was any other team, just about any other team, they would have folded this season up. They'd be picking top 5, top 7 in the draft this year, and they'd be okay with it. This was supposed to be a down year as is. Even with all the horses, everybody was expecting the San Francisco 49ers to be rebuilding, to be figuring it out. They had all this dead money. They had all these factors going against them, and they still sit here 8-4 without their best players playing. Fred Warner and Nicholas John Bosa are the heartbeat of their everything for that defense. This is an entirely different defense that you're game planning for when they're on the football field. So when they're not, it's giving the young guys a chance to develop, and you gotta appreciate that. You gotta appreciate Ji'Ayir for all his struggles and getting benched, finding a way to make 2 huge plays to help his team win today. That's a huge confidence boost for him. Renardo Green had a little bit of a shaky game, but Tetsuroa McMillan is a good player and has been having a really good rookie year. And I think he's going to be a really good receiver in this league, and that's just a good learning lesson for him. But I think it's cool how Saleh is is using these safeties in this big nickel package because he's finding a way to get everybody on the field. He's getting Pinnock on the field. He's getting Mustafa. He's keeping Mustafa on the field. He's keeping Ji'Ayir Brown on the field. Um, and then he's still getting Upton Stout on the field. And so my hat is tipped off to him and everything he's done this year. Robert Saleh has done a phenomenal job. I know the rankings aren't there. They're not as high up in all the statistical categories as you would want, but 8-4 is the only thing that matters. And they have the Browns coming up, a game that could be wrecked by Myles Garrett. Now he's had, I think he had something like 13 sacks in the last 4 games. So there has to be a plan for him, and the plan cannot involve anybody blocking him one-on-one. Everybody else can be blocked one-on-one. You cannot block him one-on-one the entire game. That'll be the big plan there. Got to account for him. But I think this is a winnable game. I think they'll be favored in their next 2 games. They'll get to the bye week, hopefully get a little healthier, relatively healthier after the bye week and continue to push for the playoff push. They could possibly be 10-4. They could possibly win these next 2 and be 10-4. And if I told you that you'd go into this season with all the drama surrounding Brandon Aiyuk, with Nicholas John Bosa out for the season, with Fred Warner missing these games, with George Kittle missing games in the season, with Ricky Pearsall missing games in the season, with Brock Purdy missing a lot of games in the season, and I told you, hey, don't worry, you'll still be 10-4. You'd be over the moon. So settle down. It's going to work out fine. It's going to be a fun season. It's going to be a fun conclusion to the season. I think I know it just feels like something crazy is going to happen. And I don't know why. I want the matchup with the Rams and the Niners in the divisional in SoFi. I don't know why. That feels like something that could be a really fun game. That's a game I want to see. But until then, I think we got to talk about this team and how they just continue to do what they need to do. And even Sky Moore and the special teams deserves credit. They're getting it done. They're creating big plays when need be. They're doing their part in a big way. I mean, Niners teams from past years, special teams hasn't been the necessarily the strength of the team. And this year, they've given them a boost. No question about that. I'm interested to see how Shedeur Sanders, he's been named the starter for this next game against the San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, he's a rookie. He played well last week against the Raiders. The Niners are not the Raiders, that's for sure. But this Cleveland Browns defense is for sure serious. It's for sure stout, and they present a lot of problems in the pass rush, with their pass rush. But this Brandon Aiyuk situation, I already spoke on it. I was there in training camp. I understood how everything went, and I'm not going to speak too much in detail because that's not, it's not my place to do it. The facts will come out how they come out, and the parties that are responsible for those facts, when they speak on it, then I'll feel more free to speak on it. But again, I think it's a situation where I hear all the narrative like, oh man, it's not in his best interest to play. I just don't know that there's a team that would say, hey, we know we haven't seen you play in a year and a half. Like, he got hurt pretty early in that season. So we'll call that a half a season. And then this entire season. So there's rarely a receiver. I can't remember a scenario where a receiver sat for that long and then came back and got a lot of money. And somebody was like, man, I know you're going to come back real legitimate. Unless that guy was an established big-time receiver who's played well for a really long time, and it's just like clockwork. But I think any team that would pursue BA, or the teams that were interested in him before, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the New England Patriots, and maybe they don't want to trade for him because they don't want to take on that kind of salary and that contract with all the question marks. But if I'm BA, and I know there's even a sliver of a chance of staying with the San Francisco 49ers under this same contract, I'm going out there and trying to put on the show. And people say, what about the injury risk? That's not what you're thinking about in the National Football League. It's not. And what's crazy is, I got to go back and look at his contract, but I would assume he has more injury guarantees than anything. Like, because you always have injury guarantees that usually surpass and exceed your real money guarantees. So if anything, but I don't want to speak like this is fact because I actually got to go back and look at his contract. But if I would assume he has injury guarantees because those are usually in the contracts going further than your guaranteed money does. So he would be protected, and the team would actually likely be at more risk by playing him and him potentially getting a debilitating injury where they do have to pay out more into this contract. So, in the team's best interest, they would probably likely shut him down for good and then cut him in the offseason if that's the game they were trying to play. I don't think that's the game the San Francisco 49ers are trying to play. So I'm not, I don't want to speak for them, but I don't like that narrative that's being created on either side. Like, you got to hear from BA if you want to hear what he thinks and what he's feeling about it. I think they're opening up his practice window soon. If he goes out there and plays, it means he's playing. If he doesn't, then hopefully he'll speak for himself and be able to tell his own story. But again, I think it would be in his best interest for him to go out there and put it on tape. Put it on tape that I can move, I can still run fast, I'm still explosive, I'm healthy, I'm feeling good, I'm a team guy, I'm doing what my team is paying me to do, and it just didn't work out here. That is probably the best case scenario to get him another contract, to get him somewhere else, and everybody go on about their merry way. But I think right now the team is in a solid spot. I can't say a great spot, but they're in a solid spot. They feel good. They have what they have. He would be an incredible boost to this offense if he was healthy and he did decide to play this season. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan says he's open to the idea of Brandon Aiyuk coming back, and I think that'd be good for him. I don't see a reason or a logic that would make sense in my mind for him to be healthy and not playing in the National Football League and healthy and not playing this season. That would benefit him in some way. But overall, I feel really good about where the San Francisco 49ers are. I think the coaching staff is doing an unbelievable job in under some really difficult circumstances. And if they can find a way to make these playoffs and just sneak into the playoffs, I got a feeling they will ruin somebody's day. And sometimes being a spoiler is a fun season. We've seen seasons where the San Francisco 49ers weren't expected to do much. They snuck into the playoff, and then you look up and they're in the NFC Championship battling, and they're a dropped interception away from going to a Super Bowl in a year nobody was expecting them to do much of anything. So just keep your head up, keep the faith, feel good. It'll be all right. As always, I appreciate you guys joining me. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I surely do appreciate it. Enjoy your holiday season. Hope you guys have a happy Thanksgiving. Eat some good food for me. Watch us on Black Friday. You're going to be at your house anyway. You got the day off. You might as well watch your boy Sherm. Appreciate you. Tell your friends to follow and hit that sub button if you're new.